I find that probably 90% of the people I work with don't use their wrist and their hands correctly. And that is their main problem. But when you, especially in the old days, when you got Golf Magazine or Golf Digest in the mail, or you watch YouTube,
Yep.
and people are talking about body rotation, using ground forces, and all that, are the best players working on that stuff? The answer is yes. But they are already using their arms and hands correctly. So their next step to learn to get even better is to learn to use their body better. But for most of you watching this video, I promise you, you are not using your arms and hands correctly. And until you do, that other stuff is a waste of time, period. Once you eliminate setup mistakes, there's really only two mistakes in golf. You either make a path mistake or a club face mistake, or you make both.
Yep.
For the players that make both, so say you have an open club face and an outside to in path, which is pretty typical, yes, for a high handicap player, pretty typical. It's a chicken and the egg thing of what do you fix first? Because if they have an open club face and you fix their path, well, the ball's going to go so far right that they won't be able to play.
It's unplayable, out of bounds probably, right?
Yes, probably, right. And it's definitely not very far.
Yeah, yeah.
And so as an instructor, you've got to figure out, you know, do I fix the guy's path first or do I fix his club face first?
Yes.
And so I've always been of the belief, and most of the instructors that I've talked to over the years believe that you change the club face first. And so if their club face is open and you can get their club face to square or even closed slightly, if they're still outside in over the top with their path, well, they're going to hit it hard, but they're going to pull it. But once they see that they're hitting it hard and pulling it, if they continue to have a square face or slightly shut, then they can start making their path go more inside out or inside to inside. It's the correct way to say that.
Yeah.
And they ought to be able to do it. So one of the things that I've always tried to do, so I see a lot of players that come to me that have a lot of rotation with their arms and their hands at the beginning of their swing. And as they get back here to the top of their backswing, their left hand's really cupped and their club face is open. And the only way they can try to get it back to square is to swing that way.
Yep.
And so for years, how I've approached that as an instructor is I would take them into a room with a big mirror, and the mirror would be back here where the camera is, and I would show them their club faces like this, and it needs to be like this on the way back. And I would have them take backswings until they could see that position, and it might take them several months of practicing for a few minutes a day before they could do it.
Yes.
And it's a very difficult position because you don't have eyes in the back of your head. So most of my players are just lost back there of where in the world is the correct hand position at the top of the backswing.
Well, a lot of times if you're trying to do that too, you'll feel like you're in one position and then you look at it on video and you're not at all.
You're not.
Yeah.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
And so, you know, for most of us old instructors like me, I mean, that's an age-old thing, trying to get people to learn this backswing position because it's kind of counterintuitive on what ends up happening. And so what we found is we found this device called Hack Motion. And as an instructor, I remember when Sony Super 8 video came out, that was a great revelation for golf instruction. And more recently, the TrackMan and other launch monitors have been a huge improvement in the information that we get and how to learn. And frankly, in my opinion, the next thing might be what Patrick's got on his arm here. It's called Hack Motion, and whether you use it for full swings or chipping or putting, I mean, your hands and your forearms, if they work properly and your wrist angles work properly, that is how you control the club face. And the club face has more to do with how good a player you're going to become than the path. TrackMan has proven that club face is twice as important as path with the irons, and it's equally important with driver. As the clubs get longer, the path and the face kind of have the same effect, you know, good or bad. But in irons, the club face is twice as important as the path. And what I see as an instructor when I have my players on TrackMan, especially good players, 10 handicap or less, I rarely see a big deviation in their club path, okay? What they might be, if they're right-handed, they might be +2 or 3 on club path, or they might be -3 or 4 on club path, but they're almost the same thing every time. They're actually really consistent with the path. And everybody that comes to me, if I ask them why they're here when I meet them for the first time, what do they say, Patrick?
They want consistency.
They
right?
want consistency. That's right. And that's the number one thing I hear. And I tell them they are consistent, but what they're doing wrong produces inconsistent results. They're doing the same thing wrong every time. It's just inconsistent with the results. And you have to, that's just the facts, and that you have to understand that as a player. And so what I find with those really good players is they're pretty doggone consistent on the path. Even many high handicappers are. They might be -12 on their club path as a right-hander, but they're -12 every time.
Yeah, exactly.
They might be 13 or 10, you know, but they're pretty much the same path every time.
But the thing that's changing is the angle of their face.
So, but what I see these good players say they're 0 with club path every time, okay? Just for instance, a pretty common thing. So they're 0 on club path, but one swing they're +4 or 5 with their face, and the next swing they're -3 with the face.
Which means they're going from here to you know.
Absolutely, you know. And as we've talked about doing a video and talking about Hack Motion here, I've watched a lot of videos, other people reviewing this product and talking about it. And, you know, Martin Chuck had a really neat thing with, you know, 1 degree is 1 minute on the clock. And if you're just 2 or 3 degrees off, it's not very much, but it's enough to really
It's the difference between being in the fairway or deep in the rough,
absolutely,
especially the faster you're swinging.
Or being a 15 handicap and a 10, or a 10 and a 5.
Yep.
I mean, and so as a player, you need to learn to control your club face, and it's your hands' job and your arms' job to do that. And the way they move, we can now collect data on. We can compare you to a tour player at every point of the swing.
Yep.
And you can tell exactly what you're doing wrong or right. Would you agree?
Absolutely. Well, and I'm obsessive with filming myself when I practice. I literally have over 1,000 videos on my phone of me sitting there with the tripod. And what I've noticed every time is that we'll work on something together. Maybe we'll work on wrist angles or some sort of path thing or something. And I feel like I'm doing it, and then I go look at the video, and I might be better than I thought I was, but I'm never doing it exactly the way I think I am. And it's just amazing. One of the things that's cool about devices like this that give you that instantaneous feedback is Well, you can literally see as you're doing it, sometimes with audio cues or just looking at the screen, how your arms and body are changing. And that gives you just amazing feedback compared to filming it, going back and watching it a minute later where the swing already happened.
Right. And that is what I think is amazing of this. Their tour data and their comparisons are amazing. But you can set parameters on where you want to be, for instance, at the top of your backswing, and it will give you audio tones as you're either rehearsing it back here, if you're too much this way or too much that way, or even while you're hitting shots, you'll hear whether or not you're within the parameter that's acceptable.
Yep.
And it's immediate feedback. You can learn to do it. It's not for everybody. You really have to be a practicer, and you have to understand a little bit about some technology stuff to use the app and to get it set up. So I know this isn't for everybody. Is it expensive? Yeah, at the high end, it's $1,000. But if you think that's expensive, I mean, it's just a few lessons from somebody, and especially if you're a competitive player and trying to get better. I mean, I don't see how you couldn't have this, even if you just used it for putting and chipping.
Well, that's one thing we see, especially at the tour level. More and more players are, even like Bryson's using launch monitors out there on the practice screen when it's putting. And I think over time you start to see people want more data, not just to know what to fix, but sometimes to know when they're playing well, what's their gold standard.
Yeah, I agree.
And so if you are hitting it really good, it's nice to be able to quantify that sometimes. And this is, another way to do that.
Yes, it is. And then you can go to that Hack Motion website. They have great drills set up that you can practice with. They have great videos on there that really help you show how to use it, but also how to practice with it and improve depending on what your issues are.
Yeah. All right, so I'm going to be controlling the app, and Ed will be our guinea pig here. We're going to first get them all calibrated. That's the first step. Okay, so we got to turn you on. Okay, he's powered up. All right, and then we're going to compare you to, let's see, how about we'll do the standard pattern, which is the roll knuckles down, which is the kind of typical release you'll see Tiger or any of the classic. It's not the DJ turn your whole body. It's more
I'm not
more
that.
your kind of swing.
I am more standard, I would say.
Yeah. Absolutely. So okay, we got Ed on here, and then we're gonna do, so you're right-handed, but we're gonna have this on your lead wrist. So you have an option of doing both, which is pretty cool. But I'll show later with my right hand. So all right.
Frankly, though, your hands work together.
They do. Yeah.
So if I'm in this position with my left hand, then my right hand's going to really be cupped. And if I'm in this position, my right hand's
you got to
not
do something really funky with your grip to not have them be working together.
You have to let go. Yeah.
Okay, so now what we're going to do is have you hold your wrist like this. And that's going to be this is your most neutral position we're going for.
Okay.
Okay, so we're doing that. And then now you're going to tilt up about 30 to 45 degrees. Okay, and then now we have a chance so you can actually look at it and see if this model seems about right. So just kind of move your hand around and you can kind of get back to a neutral. You can even move your wrist like this.
Right.
There you go. So you can see. So to me, that looks pretty good. So go back to about a neutral. And we're right about 0. So that looks pretty good.
Good.
Cool. Okay, so now we'll have you hit a couple shots.
Okay. So it shows you at address what that angle is with your hand.
Yeah, so set up at address now.
Okay. And I probably should be somewhere around 25 or 30, my guess.
And everyone's going to be a little bit different. So for your, let's see, your extension versus basically your cupping bowing, to keep it simple, you're at about a plus 15 at setup.
Okay.
So that's good to know. That's kind of what, if your typical grip, obviously if you're stronger or weaker, that's going to change.
Yeah.
And then your ulnar deviation here. So that's how much your hands tilting this way or this way. You're at, go back to setup, you're about minus 48. So that's kind of yours.
What would that be?
So that's even more. So that's minus 50. So then
Okay.
if you go this way, you're only minus 20 or so like that. So
Okay.
so that's good just to have you kind of your own baseline, and you'll see that in the data. You can track each of these different parameters, including also the rotation at each point. So at the beginning of the swing, the top of the swing, and then as you're actually hitting the ball at impact. So you have kind of three. It tracks it continuously, but you have three kind of checkpoints that you can kind of compare all these numbers.
And then from my perspective, this checkpoint at the top is probably the most important, and of course impact.
We talk about this a lot. Is what the from the top to the balls
0.7 of a second.
Yeah, so you're it's very tough to consciously do a whole lot during that period. So you better be pretty good up here, or else it's going to be hard to save it.
That's right. All right, want me just hit
Yeah,
something?
so hit a couple.
All right. First swing of the day.
Yeah, no judging.
You can hear the ding. That means it got it.
Yep, so I got a good one. So this is...
I hit that one straight.
So
little draw.
Yeah, so we can see on TrackMan, nice little draw. That's probably typical shot shape for you, right? Just a little bit of a draw.
It is.
And so we can see your... so this is... We're looking right now at your cup versus bowing motion here on your wrist. So you're pretty similar to like the tour average. You maybe have a little bit more motion on the backswing, getting to the top. But then as you get closer to the impact, you're pretty close to what the model is. So, and this is something I noticed with myself when I practice with it, is I have a lot more motion than the tour pros do. That's one thing that I think leads to maybe their consistency, right?
Absolutely.
They're just, it's amazing how little their wrist is doing in the motion when they go throughout the whole swing. So we can also look at your ability here for the flexing your ulnar up and down. And so you're following the same pattern, but yours is doing more than them. So, and that's something I've noticed with myself too, is that my swing it's doing more than the model. And then your rotation is pretty much perfect in terms of how, which is very important, because that's how, you're squaring up the club face,
that's
right?
good. Huh?
So
look at that. I followed the line.
that's pretty good.
Yeah, that was pretty good.
Yeah, do another one.
I hooked that one, I think.
Well, so we'll see on track.
No, I didn't. I hit it dead straight.
I hit pretty straight on TrackMan. And then if we look at, so again, you have, I'd say, a very similar pattern here. So you're consistent. That's good. That's one thing to be paying attention to, is if your graph's changing constantly from swing to swing, well then that's telling you something already, right? But it looks like you're doing pretty good there. So I think it's pretty cool. It gives you a lot of data on this. And then what we've talked about before is if you're working with a coach, let's say I'm using it and Ed's looking at my data and realizing, okay, well, up here at the top, you need to be at minus whatever, pick the numbers, but a window for where you want to be in your own swing. You can actually set the parameters here too, so that you can kind of set those windows for where you want it to be.
And it gives you the feedback in tones.
It does, yeah.
Yeah. Can you show them how to do that?
Let's do that.
So let's do it in a practice session where it gives those tones, because I do think if somebody were to get one of these that had big issues in terms of the position of their club face on their backswing,
I agree 100%.
This is really how you learn to do it.
Okay, so you got, so let's just double check our calibration. That's one thing that's important with this, is you want to keep calibrating over time, because it'll move around a little as you're playing. And so, every time you switch to a different mode, it's worth rechecking, because that can mess you up. So it looks like yours is still pretty good. I don't think yours has moved a whole lot, but let's just for the sake of it, let's do a recalibration just to make sure that we're spot on. So go neutral here. Okay. And then go up 30 degrees or so. Cool. So now you're at 0. So that means you're for you, you're at wherever your neutral feels like. Okay. All right. So now what we're gonna do, so hit 1 and it'll get us started here.
You want me to hit it?
Yep. Okay, so now we're in the coaching part of this, which is kind of cool. So yours, according to their model, and again, everyone's a little different, so this is where you can also dial this in yourself. Yours is +4 to extended, so just a little bit.
Too much.
Just a little bit.
Okay.
And again, +4 that's pretty good. I've been +20, way out of there. So and then +1 is your impact first. So you're just
So I'm less.
yeah, but again, this is like very, very close to ideal, and you can see the bar graph here. So I mean, you're very, very good there. That's better. I've never had a swing that looks only +4 and +1. So to be clear, that's great.
I'm not commenting on
that. So the other thing we can do is there's drills where you can see what it feels like to hold at different positions.
That's what I wanted to show.
We'll go through some of that.
Because I still think that's the thing. So.
Yep. Okay, so
Ooh,
now
and it got a vibration mode too.
Oh yeah, so the
I
new
just
one
felt it. Yeah.
The new one has vibration. There's two things I think are really cool with the newer version if you have an old one. Number one is that now you can hear it.
And you hear the hallelujah if you do it right.
It still does the audio, but now it has a little vibration so you can feel it too, right?
So see if I go like this, it goes to red, but if I go there, I'm doing when I do the vibration,
you can feel it, right?
Oh yeah.
So that's pretty cool. And then the other thing is that the new one reads much more data.
Much
so I think
faster,
it's something like 8 times more frequency of how.
That, yeah.
And that's a big deal because when the golf swing's so fast. When you're coming down here, you want that fidelity of data down at the bottom. So I'm glad to see that they've really improved the sensor read speed.
So if people can hear that. So this is my correct position at the top of my backswing.
And so now But
if I get like this, then I'm in the red.
So now for
that would be closed. So I would hook it from that position.
Absolutely.
Probably.
Yep. Okay. And then go the other way.
But then if I go this is what I see with many high handicappers. This position here on the way back, and again, that's in the red. I don't feel the vibration.
Yeah.
But there I am.
Yep. And so you can practice getting there. Good.
That's my impact right there.
Yep. And that looks pretty square, right?
Yeah. Pretty cool.
So, and this is the biofeedback for the top. So now what I'll do is I'm going to take you to the impact mode. So now feel what it's like down at, like, go to your impact position.
Oh, I'm in it right there.
So look, you're perfect now. So now.
But I can feel it vibrating and I can hear the hallelujah.
So now set up what would a bad impact look like? There you go. So now he's off in either direction. You can see that changing. So there again, that's my move there.
That's too much forward lean.
That's too much lean. Yeah, which a lot of people are chasing forward lean and they go for
too much.
Yeah,
especially chipping and pitching.
Yeah, you'll never get the ball in the air if you can manage to pull it off.
Right.
So that's pretty cool. So this is.
So I'm perfect just right here holding the club.
That's again, and you look at that. I mean, that's a nice amount of shaft that just looks like a Tour Pro. So
that's pretty awesome.
I think so too. So hit a shot like that, and we'll.
See, even over here. So I've released it correctly and still kept the club square.
Yeah, and
that'd be open.
Mm-hmm. In an ideal swing, I guess you'd have the audio the entire time
the whole
through.
time.
So
yeah, isn't that
you
cool?
can see if there's a point in time where you're releasing.
I had a lot of awes.
Yeah, you did. So that one, that one saying at the top, you were. Let's see what the ball. So it did go a little to the right, right? So.
But I'm red, so I was
red.
Too
so
much,
you're a little bit
I was too much this
too
way.
much. Yeah. So let's hit another one. See if you can be a little bit more close at the top.
Even it's still going. I only have a club in my hand. Yeah. I'm just on the right angle. So look at here. I can.
Now you could sit there.
I don't even need a club.
In your office at work and just practice what that feels like. Yeah.
It's awesome. And nobody's shown that online before either.
That's pretty cool.
It was kind of on and off.
Yeah. So again, that one was a little better, but that one was, and again we saw it go to the right, in which in your typical shot path is more of a draw, right?
It is. So, or I hit that one when I'm not playing good. Yeah.
Sure, absolutely. Well, that's and you know why do you maybe hit that once in a while?
I get too much this way.
Absolutely. So that gives you that data. So I think it's really cool.
I do too, Patrick. It's awesome.
Yeah.
I'm going to hit one more, and then we're going to let him do it.
Yeah. See on this one if you can really.
I think we need to recalibrate.
Do we need to do
because I do think I've moved.
Okay, let's do that. That's nice. You can. It's really easy to do it. So there, and then go up. Okay, and then see if that looks about right. What's cool too is you can see in the model if it looks like it's
Right.
reflecting what your hand's doing. So
Yes.
that's pretty cool. Okay, so this one I want you to really overdo like a draw, like see if you can do what you can to hook the ball a little bit.
Okay. That should have hooked a lot.
There, a ton on that one. So
You told me to.
you did. That's good. You did it. So now on impact, look, you're -9 on that one. So that's still, it's saying, okay range, and which for there's more of matching up too, right? Like we've talked about it. Your wrists are one part, but also has to match up with your body motion.
Right.
So to square that up, you might need to get more rotation to compensate for the hands. So that's kind of cool to see. Yeah, I think it's pretty neat.
I love it.
Cool. The other thing that's really neat about this is it shows at the end of your session, like if you did at the driving range, it will show you a summary of all your shots you hit, and it will tell you, okay, on average, you're 2 this way or 2 this way, and it will give you some drills to work on to potentially work on whatever error that you're having.
Yeah, cool.
So here you can see here it shows your shot list here, and then it'll show all of your summary of all the different points of data. So I think that part's really cool. All right, so let's see. So I'm gonna do
measure.
Yeah, I'll do the measure one. Do a PGA. And I'll do the same one that you were doing there.
Okay.
Let's see, and then I'll do mine. And then I'm going to put mine this time on the trail wrist. So I've actually never done on the trail. I've always been on lead wrist guy, but this is kind of newer. So it's kind of cool that they're making this an option now.
All right.
I haven't swung any either, so don't make fun of me yet.
I won't do.
Get loose. One of the things I'm really excited about with the new speed that the sensor is working at is that the new one's supposed to be much better at detecting flipping, which is my main thing I'm always trying to work on in my swing. So it'd be kind of cool to see how it reads that now.
You want to see it?
Yeah, I want to see. So okay. So my cup boat is substantially more movement than the pros.
Right.
So
and me
and you, but even mine. I mean, just goes to show you're a much more accomplished swinger than I am, and so it's like your movement on that was much less. This is a typical pattern that I see a lot. So that's kind of cool to be able to quantify what you're working on.
And so that means your right hand is too much this way.
So it's too much. No, sorry. Yeah. Is this one?
Yes.
No, this it's saying I'm too at the top I'm too much this way, but then as I come through, I flip too much. So depends on where in the swing.
Bottom graph is there.
So so basically what mine's doing is going here and then here, and instead it needs to be more neutral here and then stay more neutral.
Yeah.
So
okay.
Yeah,
I agree.
$1 million question, of course, is getting yourself to actually do that, but it's nice to have the data.
Same thing.
Same thing. So to me, that felt a little bit less, but yeah, it looks about the same.
Same thing.
This goes to show our point. It's like sometimes it's amazing. You think you did something, and then you go look at you can see it on video, and that it'll tell you something. But when you can actually see the raw data there, that's even more telling that you didn't really change the thing you thought you were changing. So this will be interesting. What I'm gonna try on this swing is what we've been working on, which is really trying to get my hand to turn over earlier in the swing, just to see if we can see a difference in the data at all. That felt like that was going left. Yep.
But pretty much still the same.
It is. I think, yeah,
But that's better.
maybe a little bit better, yeah.
Mhm. No, I think it's a little better.
Yeah.
Now put it on the practice mode.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay, so now we're measuring where I'm supposed to be at impact. So let's see if I can, what does my impact feel like? So ideally, I want to be like here.
Yes, sir.
Now getting here is something I've had trouble doing, but I can at least kind of feel like what it's supposed to feel like to get back there. So do you think it's worth doing a drill like that where you kind of start here and then just take a small?
Absolutely.
Yeah, to me that seems like that would be a pretty good way to practice with this.
Absolutely.
Get to the point where you're here. So let me see if I can get which way am I? Okay, so I need to be more this. Oh, that's pretty cool. You can really tell a difference. Like
I know.
This is my more common. You can.
I agree.
So how does that one look? Oh, here, so let's turn this off. Okay, so impact on +10, too extended there. So I'm a little too extended still, but I think that's better.
I do too.
So here, let's do this. So you put me where you think perfect impact should be. There?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so now look at my numbers.
Okay.
So where am I for the orange one?
Extension, yeah.
I'm plus 4 there. Okay,
Yeah.
and then minus 42.
Yeah.
Okay, so remember this. So let's say minus 4 or plus 4 minus 40.
Yeah.
So then what we can do is in our benchmarking, we can do custom. So we can then say when we're at impact, we're at custom range, we're going to say from, let's see, what do you think, like 0 to 4, plus 4 or something?
I would
like that?
say 1 to 5.
Okay, 1 to 5.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Okay.
And that's for this one. And then we can also do the Olner one. So that was minus 42, I think. So
so plus 35 to
yeah.
50.
Yep. Minus, I think, right?
Yeah.
Minus 35 to 50. Okay. Okay, that. And then we got minus 50. There. Okay, so cool. So now I'm set up, and we can even do the same thing for the address and for the top,
Right.
but just for the sake of impact. So now does this? So go back to the practice mode.
I am.
Okay, so and then let's do the biofeedback too. So we want immediate. Okay, so impact. If I was to recreate.
More Olner.
I need more of this.
More flex, yeah.
More this way or less this way?
More.
So which one do I need more of?
The flex still, not the Olner.
I need more like this.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Too much.
I think I had two. Yeah, I was. So right around here. And this window might be a little too tight.
That's it right
Yeah,
there.
okay.
It might be, but that's.
But that's good. So you like this position right here
I do.
and again I'd be more turned. So
Don't worry about that.
okay. So let's see if I can hit one around starting.
Make a swing though, but start normal.
So that's kind of where I'm trying to get to that feel. I think that's a good way to practice what a good impact would feel like. I think it is valuable to work with a coach still who can help you get calibrated correctly so that it's right for you. So I want to get to here.
Yep.
So even for me, I think that's valuable, being able to just feel what my body feels like when I get to that. So how do we compare? Okay, so my ulnar was good, but I'm +4, so I need to be -4. No, that's right. I was actually not too far off on that one, I guess,
I
for
agree.
the impact. Yeah, it was one of my better swings. So my TrackMan didn't get our other stuff, but the face angle was almost neutral there,
Right.
-0.7. So
Right.
that's as close to 0 as I've been on any of these swings.
I agree.
I think that's pretty good practice. I just get to feel what that's supposed to feel like and then get back there.
Again, ulnar, you were perfect.
Was it? And that one, so that one I could feel it. My club, the face angle was off, and TrackMan has it at 10. So
You hit that one on the hosel.
did it? Was that what it is? Okay, that makes more sense. It felt like a little bit of a shank.
It was. I could hear it.
You could hear it. Yeah, I think I was a little too close on that one. -10 club path.
It's okay.
So I get across today. Okay, so my impact there was a +10. So it's a little bit more cupped. That's kind of cool.
Yeah, it is cool. +9 you were that time.
+9, okay.
What did we set our parameters at? 1 to 4? 1 to 5?
1 to 5, yeah. So I need to be a little bit more
Your
there.
ulnar's still great.
Yeah, that one seems like it's doing pretty good.
+8 that time.
8, okay.
That's still not bad. That's
Not
a
bad. I
good
mean,
shot.
these are all playable shots. Like that.
Those are some of your best attack angles ever.
Yeah, these are. I'm definitely hitting down more. So.
+12 on that.
Okay.
That's still good though.
Yeah.
I like it.
That's cool.
Yeah, it really is cool. I think the more you mess around with it and the more you experiment with it and understand exactly what's going on,
I do too. Well,
it gives you great feedback.
And
I think you just have to make sure you recalibrate often.
That's I think the big key with it is
the terrible thing would be to not.
Yeah,
and then get bad information.
Absolutely. Anytime in doubt, probably recalibrate. I also think it's good to work with someone like you're giving me my exact position so that you're not because the app's awesome, but it can reinforce bad stuff if you're not careful with how you're doing it. So cool.
But in a nutshell, I think they're really on to something.
I do too.
And the feedback that you get from it is amazing.
It is, yeah.
And there's a lot of people that'll help a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
So they do a pretty good job, in my opinion, of customer support and all that stuff too. The basic model, they have 2 or 3 different pricing point things, and their very basic one doesn't include the putting thing. And so in my opinion, unless you're one of the greatest putters on the planet, I'd at least get the option 2 or 3 that includes the putting platform.
Yeah, the putting is pretty cool.
Because the putting is really pretty cool.
Yeah, we used it in a video recently where we had you show and you're a good putter. So
I wasn't bad with it.
You were right on, but then we did an example too where you kind of emulated a more wristy putt like you might see from people who are newer. And it's amazing how it just shows you how the difference in the data looks when you're hitting it, with a good putting stroke versus one that might be more common for people who are watching.
Right. And I know based on some of the comments we get and some of the emails that I get that aren't on our on our channel comments, but I know there's a lot of golf instructors around the country that watch our channel, and I get great feedback from them. And honestly, if you're a teaching professional and you don't have one of these, you're missing the boat. Just like if you don't have a TrackMan or a really top line launch monitor as well, you're missing the boat, or you don't have a video camera.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty sure this technology is going to be the next revolution of golf instruction, and that's what I would call it. So,
well, we're seeing with TrackMan now, they're starting to do more of the analysis of the body motion, and that's one thing these launch monitors for years are great about measuring what the ball's doing, and to some level what the club's doing, but it doesn't necessarily show what the body is doing to create some of that. So it's just nice to have more data on.
Well, it is, and but yes, I couldn't agree more. My TrackMan now does the hand path. And there's other options out there too that give you biomechanics in real time.
Yeah.
And so it's pretty fascinating what's going on. The simpler you keep this game, the better, though, and its feedback is what we're looking for. And what I really like about Hack Motion is the instant feedback, and you can look at the monitor and it'll show you every movement that you're making, and when you learn where you want to be, whether it's here or there, or where you want to be at impact, I mean, you can rehearse it in slow motion.
Yeah.
You can set your parameters, you can hit shots, and you can look at your graph compared to the tour players and find out what you're doing differently than them. And it's amazing if you ask me.
It is. It's really cool.
And so I recommend that you investigate it and check out their website. He'll give you a link, I'm sure.
Yeah, we'll have a link in the description if you want to try it out, or see what they have to say about it.
Yeah, and I'm going to mess around with it quite a bit here, especially as I get through this next month or so of my busy time, and it starts slowing down when the kids go back to school and stuff like that. I'm anxious to really work on it. I mean, we did a video last week that we showed a basic little chipping method, and all you're trying to do is maintain the angle with your bottom hand, your trail hand through impact, and gosh, you can put this thing on either wrist. It'll show you where that angle is, and it'll show you whether or not you're keeping it. You may think you're keeping it, but most people aren't. And it doesn't lie. That's what I tell people about TrackMan. It doesn't lie. You only hit it 130 yards, not 150. And isn't that right?
That's right.
And so that's what I like about this too. It gives you real data that you can see, and then you can learn to do it the right way. And if you can learn to use your hands correctly, you'll be a better player.